Welcome to the fourth episode of the MousekaBros podcast. Hi, I'm Ryan.
And I'm his brother Randy. Be sure to like us on Facebook at the MousekaBros. We will be releasing new episodes every Friday, so make sure you subscribe to get the latest podcast. On today's episode, we have another segment of the Love It, Hate It, and Update It. In this series, we discuss topics such as attractions, dinings, and all things Disney. As a reminder, we will give 2 Love It's, 2 Hate It's, 2 Update It's. Today's topic is Epcot attractions. If you haven't listened to our first Love It, Hate It, Update It, we did the Magic Kingdom attractions. So this episode will be different because it's Epcot attractions.
Right across the way here at Epcot.
In our first one, we had a lot of discussion kind of disagreeing with each other's categories. But I think today, because Epcot's such a different park, I think we will agree more on some and like kind of have discussions in agreement, not disagreement.
Yeah. I have a feeling that, again, we'll agree. And I feel like a lot of it, even though, you know, I love Epcot, I feel like a consensus of it all overall needs an update.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. They're doing, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy, Brazil, you know, the Ratatouille ride. It needs all of the changes that it is getting.
Absolutely. So we'll kick it right off and do Love It first. So my first Love It is going to be soaring around the world. I love soaring over California. I was glad when they brought that over, when they had that big haul that they were bringing other attractions from other parts of the world over. It was interesting that it was soaring over California, even though you're in Orlando. I still enjoyed it, you know, and then after it did get old a little bit after the California, because it's like, okay, I'm not in California, but you know, now the soaring around the world, it just, I mean, it goes hand in hand with Epcot's overall theme, especially in World Showcase. What do you think?
I completely agree. That is my number one on the Love It's. It's very clear, that it is different from soaring over California. Like, it's making that statement, saying like, we have similar names, but we are completely different rides. So like soaring over California, the idea behind it was that you were flying to California from Orlando. I don't know if you ever knew that. But so that's kind of what it was. So it didn't have any elements from around the world. Then they added in the queue, they added like natural wonders, like pictures, moving pictures from, you know, other places to kind of add the sense that you're not just doing California. Then from there, they changed those pictures into the game, and then it became soaring around the world. So they knew that they were going to kind of make this change at some point, but I'm so happy that they did. It fits into the land, I think, because I mean, you're literally flying over Earth, over the land, and seeing all these different. So I think it's cool that it's in the land pavilion.
Yeah, no, totally. I definitely think, I mean, if I wouldn't have known that Soaring Over California came before this one, I would have thought Soaring Around the World was there first and had been there for forever because it's so good.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree. The only thing, and like this doesn't make it not a Love It, but like, wouldn't it be cool if they had an exit that led you right to the countries? Like, I think that'd be really neat if you like got on Soarin' and then you walk the countries. Like if it was that transition.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting transition.
I mean, that doesn't mean that it's not a Love It, but it was just I just had that thought.
Yeah, I mean, the ride was so popular that when it first came out, when it first opened, they only had 2 wings. And then they actually had to add a third one because it was so popular, which is crazy. And then it stayed around, unlike the Lights Motor Action show at Hollywood Studios. But I'm definitely glad this one stayed.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, it's a ride that anybody can do, even if you do get motion sickness, you know, like Star Tours and like other rides like that. You don't get that same feeling on this ride.
No,
it's
you definitely
completely
don't.
different.
No, I mean, our father doesn't he gets very motion sick very, very quickly, and he loves it.
Yeah, I mean, when he did Mission Space, he had to almost passed out.
Oh, that was rough.
It was funny.
That was rough.
So I guess it'd be back to you because I
agreed
with Soarin'.
So you agreed with Soarin'. That's your first Love It. So then my second Love It is going to be Spaceship Earth. There's just nothing like going in that geodesic sphere it's the icon of the park, and there's a ride, an attraction in it. It just, the top of my list. I have to do it every single time I go there. They've had multiple narrators with it. Overall, it talks about human communication and the future of communication, which is it's so current. Even the past, learning the past of communication is awesome. It you might not know something before you write it, and then after you write it, you're like, oh, okay. Like the Egyptians and using papyrus.
So I do agree with it. Whenever you talk about history, what comes up is all of the bad times, right? And how that shaped our nation, shaped our world. But this is a ride that takes history and talks about the good times. Yeah, it talks about the fall of Rome, but overall, it's the good times and how everything that happened in our world that is good has bettered us for the future. And it just, at that end, when you get that view of the Earth, right, of the spaceship Earth, and you see it, you just get like chills in your body. You're like, oh my gosh, like I live there. Like it's crazy to think about. It's just a ride that, every time you ride it, you just get that wow factor.
Yeah, I get the wow factor at the top of the ball, because it's the top of the ball and you're like, oh, cool. Like, and you see that like big tower thing. I'm like, oh, I wish the lights would come on and the ride would break down so I could walk down from there and get, evacuated from the ride, which I always thought that'd be cool. But
I mean, I will say the end of the ride with the video screens, that's starting to get a bit old.
Yeah.
Because it's like kind of this thing, like when they first did it, you were like, oh my gosh, like that's my face on a person. Like this is my future. This looks awesome. But now after riding it like 27 times, it's like, oh yeah, this happens. And then this happens and this happens. So with the refurbishment coming, it'd be interesting to see how they change that, if they change that.
Yeah. And sometimes if you wear a hat, or if, you wear sunglasses, I don't know why you'd wear sunglasses inside, but if you wear your sunglasses, or even if like you have regular glasses like I do, sometimes it doesn't get a good picture of your face and it comes out like distorted on the video, or they just don't use your face at all if it's too distorted of a picture, I guess, which is kind of like sad, because you're like, oh, there's my picture. Or there's my friend's picture. Where's my picture at?
You ever gotten someone else's face? That's happened once.
No,
happened once.
That's funny.
And, like the video comes up, you're like, oh, here it is. That's not me.
That's not me. I don't even see that person around. Are they in the car in front of me, or?
I always like when the car in front of us isn't full. So you're looking back and like there's no picture because there's nobody in front of it. But like they still had to select answers. It's funny.
It's like an automatic answer.
Right.
Thing
like it still has to do it.
It still plays a video.
So I guess my second love it would be Frozen Ever After. Don't get me wrong, my heart still mourns for the Maelstrom.
Little salty there.
Yeah, it was. I love that ride, but that ride, it was pointless. There was too much happening in that ride, right? Because like they thought about it, like, oh, Norway, what's cool about Norway? Ooh, Vikings. Let's talk about Vikings. Well, it's also cold, so like let's have a polar bear and an oil rig. Well, they also have trolls, so let's add trolls. There was just kind of. It felt like too many hands in a pot. It didn't have an overall story. The village at the end of the queue, completely pointless. The movie at the end of the queue, I've seen it once. And after I saw it one time, I don't think I've ever seen anybody sit down. Like, I don't think they've ever had that theater packed.
Yeah, no. They used to close the doors on the other side.
Right.
And then I think at one point, I mean, maybe this is probably, I think when I first went, it was like, I don't know, whenever, but... Now and then they just used to leave the doors open, just walk on through, and then if you want to watch it.
Right, you would watch a 10-minute movie, but still have people walking in front of the screen the entire 10 minutes.
I actually used parts of that video at the end in a project I did for in high school, and everybody's like, "Oh, those are some great clips," and I was like. Yeah, I may have gotten some from Disney, but yeah, I mean. I kind of like that film because I like Norway, and that kind of gave me some insight to Norway.
I completely agree. you've seen it once, you've seen it a
oh yeah,
million
no,
times.
no, and that will go down to later in one of my updated, about films,
Okay, right.
in general. But
see, what I like about it though, with Frozen Ever After, is that they did keep the elements. So they have that transition from the trolls when you kind of were at the left and you transition to the right, and it had Tiny, the big snowball, the big snowman.
I think that's his name.
Oh my gosh, I don't know his name. Anyway, that's not important. They still have that transition. They still have the big drop. You know what I mean? It's you go on this kid ride, and we'll call it a kid ride, and you're like, oh, okay, like they're doing the Frozen songs, cool. And then you get to this big drop, and you're like, wait, what type of ride am I on? So like when we knew that, and we took my fiance Katie on it, and we knew about the Maelstrom, we knew that there was a drop. And like even she was like, whoa, wait a second, what's happening? We're going down a drop right now. So it's cool that they still left that element. Mm-hmm. And speaking of my fiance Katie, she doesn't like Frozen at all. She hates that movie, watched maybe half of it. She doesn't like the music. But even after she rode that ride, she was like, wow, that was a really cool ride. You know, with the audio animatronics in it, you know, you have Olaf, Sven, Elsa, Anna, they just look amazing. And how they talk and move, the technology there is just incredible.
Yeah. I mean, even though it's an IP, in Epcot, in the World Showcase, I know everybody's kind of against IPs, bringing in more IPs, but when they go so commonly with, the Norwegian culture, it just makes sense.
Well, it's not even the culture. Like, I do agree with that, but it's when they do it well. When it's bad, it's bad.
Oh, for sure. An example of that for me would be the Mexican pavilion ride with Donald Duck and the Three Caballeros. It's
right. It felt like, we need to put something in here to make it Disney related. Let's just add a bunch of screens with these characters because they're from Mexico. But like, it's really, really not that good.
Yeah.
The animatronics at the end are cool. It gets stale after a while, though. The ride gets boring.
Again, it's one of those ones you do it once, and you're like, if it's raining and I'm caught in the Mexican pavilion, I'll do it.
Even on busy days, I don't know that I've ever seen a wait for it. So it's always a walk on.
Yeah. Yeah. No. But anyway, so that was on our love it's.
Yeah.
So on to our hate it's. My first one's going to be the ImageWorks, and I always knew it was called ImageWorks, but actually the official title now is ImageWorks: The What If Labs, which I never knew that it was called, because usually I just get off the ride and I just walk right through it, right through the gift shop. I don't pay it any mind anymore, I'll say, from what it was fantastic.
Right, and you're talking about the end of Figment, right? You're talking about the end of Figment. Whole area where they do pictures and music and stuff, just to be clear for anybody who doesn't know.
So they used to have, they still have an upstairs, but now it's for Disney Vacation Club members. So they used to have an upstairs, and they used to have a thing, it was the Sensory Maze, or also known as the Rainbow Corridor, and it was a tunnel, and it changed colors as you walk through it. It's iconic to that area for after that ride, or at least it was. There's a famous shot out there with Michael Jackson in it, which is, it just speaks volumes for something that really wasn't an attraction. It just kind of came to be like, oh yeah, this is cool. And something so simple as a light tunnel being so popular for that era.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I never actually got to walk the tunnel, or if I did, I was way too young to remember.
I think you did, because you were probably way, way little.
Yeah, even if I walked it, probably pushing a stroller through it. I was just fascinated that, look at the pretty lights. But like, no, I completely agree that, whenever I see pictures of Figment and the Dreamcatcher Finder. Send all hate mail to Ryan. So, whenever you see pictures of those two, they're normally in that light tunnel. You know what I mean? So that light tunnel is iconic. Yeah. So rest in peace.
To me, that whole ImageWorks area, it could become a gift shop. The whole thing could just become one giant gift shop, and I'd probably still walk through it. I might stop if I see something interesting, but
I mean,
I'll walk right through it.
They could really take that area and extend Figment. They could make it a longer ride, which I don't think anybody would be upset about.
No, I don't think anybody would be upset at all. I mean, they can make it a number of things. I mean, they could. I think that's where Wreck-It Ralph is going at the end of it, a meet and greet. It's temporarily in. I can't remember. It's wherever it is right now, it's temporary, and then the end result is to put it into ImageWorks, which. Okay, if that's what this area wants to become, but to me, it's becoming a closet.
Yeah,
just stuff. That just
like we don't have anywhere to put it. Let's put it in ImageWorks.
Yeah. So for me, get rid of it. Yeah.
Cool. So my first hate it is impression difference. We kind of talked about this last episode with the Destination D announcements. So like you probably already know my feelings. But I don't think this video lives up to the circle visions of Canada and China. I think it was just an attraction that they kind of just had to slap in there. Like, we need something for France. Let's put a movie, a sit down movie. Like not even circle vision. If it was circle vision, it would have some aspect that it's like, okay, cool. But like it's just like sitting down in I don't know. It doesn't work for me. I don't like it. But speaking of the Destination D announcements, I'm glad that they are putting Beauty and the Beast in there. It's running, at the same time. But I wish Beauty and the Beast would just take it over. I think they should just completely get rid of impressions difference.
Yeah, I mean, the videos overall, I think, have something to say for Epcot, and I think the overall that something needs to happen with all these films.
Yeah, no, I do agree. But I'm just kind of taking one in general. Because, like, Canada and Reflections of China, they're not that great movie. Do they need an update? Yeah, of course they do. Does Impressions de France? No, it doesn't. It just needs to go. I don't think an update to it would do anything.
Would matter, yeah. All right. Yeah. So for my second hate it, and... yeah, I'm just going to say it. Test track. And I don't mean the ride, I guess, overall. I mean the current state revamp they had of it. I just don't like it. Yeah, the car thing is cool that you can build your own car and then go test it. Yeah, that's neat. But I so much like the old version better. I mean, it's a test track. So you are driving a test car on a track, not a sim car that you build. It's the name of the ride to me, test track. I just don't like it. It's too. I mean, I like that it's kind of like Tron-like, but then make it Tron. Don't make it something that it's not to me. But I mean, it's a ride. Yeah, I do it. Every time, we go. Have to do test track because I like the layout of the track, but I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I actually have it in my updated, so I won't go too much into it. But like, I actually didn't know this. So that screen when you're doing the fast, like the outside track and it kind of showing your speed, that screen lies.
It's fake.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I actually thought it was keeping track of your speed.
I mean, I think at the end result, you are going what it says, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not
monitoring. Yeah.
Like I never actually like knew that. I was like, wow, I can't believe we're going so fast so quickly.
Yeah. No.
And then I heard that and I was like, oh, okay, I'm not sad or anything. It's fine.
No, yeah, but I definitely. I mean, yeah, if they updated it, absolutely. I guess I wonder overall. I don't keep up with current events or really news in general, unless it's Disney news, of course. But I wonder, is the GM sponsorship in jeopardy because of what's going on with GM?
Yeah, no, I think that's a valid point. I think that is a scary point because we all know what happens when a sponsor leaves an attraction in Epcot. And for those of you that don't know what happens, the attraction closes.
Yeah, no, and with the Siemens sponsorship going away, especially for Spaceship Earth, and kind of eliminations in that same regard because they sponsored that as well. I feel like Disney now is owning it. They're saying, yeah, this is our ride. We don't want to have anybody else sponsor it. So, maybe if they did that for Test Track, it would turn into something maybe even new, completely new. But I'm just so curious.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to think in this time when these rides were being built, money wasn't there. So having a sponsor with a company
it was
to
huge.
pay for it was huge. It helped them.
Yeah, it made the ride.
I mean, but nowadays, Disney can afford to own every single ride.
Mm-hmm.
They can. Let's just be honest with it.
Yeah.
They don't need the sponsors. In fact, I think the sponsors need Disney.
Yeah, no. I think it's, it's kind of flipping the table in a sense of, this company can say, yeah, we have a ride sponsored at Disney World is what I think the end result that it's going to turn into, so I think the sponsors need to own up.
Yeah. But so it'll be interesting to see if that sponsorship is lost, changed, or not, they don't pick up another sponsor or something.
If GM does, decide to not sponsor it anymore, I wouldn't be opposed to like Tesla picking it up. That would be really cool, and especially if they did it, well again, a whole revamp again, and maybe not call it Test Track again. I don't know. I just think it needs something, and what it's got now isn't working for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. So going to my second hate it, I kind of struggled because I didn't know where to put it, if it should go in the updated or it should go in the hate it. Kind of like that Test Track.
Right? Yeah, I didn't know whether to put it in the updated or the hate it. Right. I didn't want to say I hated it, but no, I said it anyway.
Right. So for my second is the Disney Phineas and Ferb Agent P's World Showcase Adventure. When that first came out, that was awesome.
Oh, right? Yeah, I remember doing that.
Walk around all over the countries, interact with the countries, I don't know, just make stuff happen that like you wouldn't know happened. The first time that we were in France and the Eiffel Tower took our picture from, way up high, and we didn't even notice. And then we got the picture on the phone that they give you. We were like, whoa, that's crazy. That's insane. Now, I understand why they did it. It was something to kind of get the kids to walk around World Showcase so the parents could shop, eat, drink, yada, yada, yada. I don't think Phineas and Ferb kind of works anymore. I know it's still playing on Disney Channel. I'm not 100% sure if they're making any new episodes. I just don't know.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind if they kind of took it out and kind of make it like a Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, where you kind of go to each country and interact with an IP from that country. Yeah. Because that's already how they do the meet and greets. Mm-hmm. So that's why it would go in the updated. But the reason I put it in the hate it is because if it were to just leave, like if tomorrow morning, everybody wakes up, it's completely removed from the park, I don't think anyone is going to notice. I don't think anyone's going to go up in arms. Like, they're not going to read that and say, oh, well, I'm not going to Disney anymore.
Right.
That was my reason. So I just don't think it is necessary anymore. Maybe because, I'm older, I understand the countries. I have an appreciation going to the countries and looking around, shopping, eating, and drinking, than I did when I was younger. But I just think it's, again, pointless. It's pointless.
Yeah. And even now, you don't pick up a phone anymore. It's on your phone through the Play app.
And that's not cool because I liked how you had to go somewhere, meet a cast member, get a phone. It made it feel like a secret agent.
You're actually in a story. There's a storyline behind it that you're helping Agent P, and in our case, we would be Agent R, and helping them. Yeah, no, it was definitely a cool idea. Before that, it was Kim Possible.
Yes.
And I think that kind of sparked the ringtone thing of everybody saying, oh, I want the Kim Possible notification ringtone, which was cool. I'll be honest. I downloaded it and had it. I still might have it on my phone. But anyway, and now they're coming back out with that Kim Possible movie on the Disney Channel.
Which, doesn't look great, but, I still have to watch it. You know what I mean?
No, I think it's one of those things where, I'll probably end up watching it too. Maybe I'll record it, and when I watch it, when I get around to it, I get around to watching it. It might sit on my DVR for a month or two, but interesting. Yeah. No, I do you think they maybe need something new?
Yeah, like
or
I said,
just get rid of it completely.
I think having something like that is awesome, but have it to where the IPs. So if you go to Morocco, right, you're doing stuff like you have a tablet, phone, whatever it is, but you're interacting with like Aladdin and Jasmine, right? Then you go to France and you can interact with Belle from Beauty and the Beast, or Sleeping Beauty from Sleeping Beauty, Aurora. I couldn't think of her name for some reason. Or then you go to Germany and do Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. You know what I mean? If they had actual IPs, they want to get IPs in the park anyway. We know this. They're already doing it. So I think this would be a really good way to get IPs into the park.
Yeah. And I guess it's interesting. Like, do you think the KidCot stops are enough? Do you, because they just had a new sponsor too. I believe Ziploc sponsors that now. But is that enough? It would have been interesting to see, I guess, the numbers on when Agent P or Kim Possible came out. Did the KidCot go down? No, you don't.
I don't know what KidCot is. Can you explain that to me?
Okay, so it started off with when Duffy the Bear was big, and then you had like a stick, and then you had, I think it was like kind of like an outline cardboard cutout of Duffy, and then you went around to the countries, and kids could draw a picture and something like that, and then at the end of it, you'd get like a stamp on your. It was basically like a painter's stick, but blank. And kids got like a stamp on it. And I'm not sure what it is now. It'd be interesting to see what it is now. It has to do something with Ziploc and Ziploc bags. Yeah.
I mean, I don't. To me, that sounds like very little kid stuff where they don't even know how to work a phone, right? So like they can draw or paint or do a craft. That's easy for them to concept or to grasp. But to have a phone and not be able to understand that, I think that's what that KidCot would be for. So having this Agent P kind of gets the teens involved, right? That's what I feel like they're trying to strive for.
Yeah. To me, I'm on kind of the complete opposite with that one, because it's like, I mean, there's 2-year-olds out there now, I'm sure, that can operate a phone and know how to get the Snapchat and pull up the dog filter, and so countless things. It's like, are we having our kids grow up where they have to have a phone in their hand and no more communication, But anyway, that's not Disney Dog.
Right. So kind of reeling it back, I think having that KidCot first was kind of, they had it because they didn't have the technology to do Agent P or Kim Possible and then Agent P. But then when that technology came out, that's when that kind of got bigger. And now it is just kind of there.
Yeah, it's there. It's like one of those things. If you want to do it, sure. If not,
sure.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. All right, so that sums up the hate it's for both of us. So now we'll move into the update it's. So for mine, isn't a specific attraction, but multiple. It's just the Circle Vision 360 films, just all together. And I would even go as far as just all the films. Reflections of China is getting an update where it's not the 9 separate cameras anymore. It's just going to be a seamless. I'm interested. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just turned it into a big character meet and greet. Again, I think it falls in line with one of those things. If it's raining, yeah, sure, I'll do it. If not, it's one of those like, oh, I got 15 minutes to kill before dinner. Let's go watch O Canada, which I'm not saying I like O Canada.
I like the song.
I like Martin Short. I like that they had the kind of comedy to it, which made it interesting. And it made it still about their country. But again, it's just getting old again.
Yeah, no. If they do the seamless screen, do you think they update the video like completely, or just update it to fit the screen?
Well, I think that's hand in hand with the screen. Is that they made a new camera to make it seamless.
Right. I mean, I know it's rumored that it's going to go into Canada. I mean, think about it. If they do it for China, it's the same exact technology for Canada. Yeah, they have to make a movie. I know it's rumored and it's not official, but if updating the video and making it seamless, See, I agree with that, but my problem is the rewritability, right? We're talking about redoing, Reflections of China and Oh Canada, but in 10 years after the seamless video comes out, does this just come back on our list as an updated?
Yeah, no, I mean, totally. But, I think with a film, it's easier to update once you get the technology for seamless. Maybe this time it's a particular place in China. You come back in 2 years and it's a different place in China.
That could be cool. Yeah.
So it's showing you China, but, in multiple, segments, whether it's every, every 3 months it could change, or maybe not 3 months, 6 months, a year, is a new China film. Which would be an interesting take on showing more of China. I mean, if I was a country, well, I'm not a country, but if I was a country, I'm physically a country.
Ryan is being added to Epcot, rumor.
Yeah, rumor.
You heard
it here first, absolutely. But to absolutely showcase their country, and this is a very good way to do it. It just needs to be updated.
Yeah, I mean, no, I kind of like that idea, because then you are getting the country very involved. So, and then in the country itself, you'll probably get, new, you get new movies there. You know what I mean? It kind of just boosts overall. I mean, having these countries involved is super important. I mean, the Prime Minister for Morocco, when first announced Epcot, immediately fired his head chef and sent him over to Epcot to be the chef there to do the Moroccan food right. So having these countries involved, I think, is a big part of Epcot. So I kind of like the idea of having, these movies updated every so often from the countries.
Own it. Yeah, the countries should definitely own it, and they do own it. All the cast members at the countries, it seems like they all live and breathe their country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, is definitely, it speaks volumes for their country. It speaks volumes for Epcot and Epcot's future vision, for sure.
So my first updated, I won't beat a dead horse, because we already talked about it. I'll just kind of say my 2 cents and then we'll move on. But Test Track. Test Track's my first updated. Yeah. Like you said, I like the old story better. It made sense. Like the old one, that you were a test dummy in a car on a test track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, was it a great story? No. Did it make sense? A little bit.
Yes.
Does the new one make sense? No. Is it the future? Is it Tron? Are you testing a future car? Having the queue where you kind of design your own car is cool, because it makes the wait feel less, but you're still waiting. Let's be honest. That's what the whole point is. So I do like that, where you can kind of design a car, but it just doesn't feel right. Or I know it's not supposed to be realistic. It's supposed to be very futuristic, and I get that.
Right.
But it doesn't make sense. I think losing the sponsor for GM could potentially be a good thing. But again, we kind of already said enough on it, I think.
And part of the updated, I mean, even when you ride it sometimes, the stats after you go through the brake check test or whatever that is first, sometimes the screens don't even match up to what car you're in.
Yeah.
It either doesn't show it, or it shows the car after you because it's on a delay, or...
Right. I mean, even if you don't design a car in the queue, you can still scan your badge when you're about to board the ride, and it just designs a random
randomizes
car.
a car for you, which is interesting, because not everybody gets to
I don't know
design a car.
I don't know if because single riders don't design a car. I'm pretty sure they just hop right in line.
I think they have the choice.
Yeah,
to do it. They have the stations there.
I think they have the choice. But it's kind of like Norway, where they can just walk right by.
No, and I guess it's funny you bring that up, is because I've never done single rider on that ride, nor have I ever just waited standby for that ride.
Yeah,
the only time I've ridden it has been Fast
Yeah.
Pass, and I think that will probably be the only time I ride it is for Fast Pass, because I've done it. I've designed a car. For me to wait 60 minutes to design a car and have it on the same sim track, just. Fast Pass it, or to me, I mean, I know it's a huge attraction, but to me, Fast Pass it
still has that thrill, because you do 60 miles an hour outside, and you're on these sharp turns and unexpected twists with the big truck.
Mm-hmm.
So it is still cool.
Spoiler alert.
It's fine.
There might be a truck. I don't know.
There's not a truck. Disregard what we said. But like, it's still cool to have those aspects, but like, just not the futuristic. And like, I miss the robots when you're kind of going through.
At least that was some interaction, not like wind resistant test.
And you see a
screen, with a fake car going under.
Like spraying mist and stuff. It had a story, and that's what I liked about it.
No. And, I guess if we were saying this when it was still around, we might be saying updated. So, I guess in that regard, you don't know what you got until it's gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, in the same, what it's got going now is...
It didn't work.
No.
They tried for a new update. It didn't work. Second, update it for you.
Yeah. So my second update is going to be Journey into Imagination with Figment. I know there's a lot of talk and discussion on, they're going to update it. And I mean, to me, they want to throw it back, bring, the Dreamfinder back with Figment. I think that would speak volumes to, we are established in Figment. We're going to bring back the Dreamfinder. I guess where it gets a little much is maybe with the Inside Out characters as rumored to come,
and that is the update you're talking about, is them doing Inside Out.
Right? Yeah. So I'm not against them bringing the Inside Out characters. I feel like that story would be interesting, whether it's Riley figuring out imagination with Figment. That would be interesting. I'm not against it, but is it too heavy? Are they going to lose Figment and all of that? Because Inside Out is, 5 characters?
Yes.
Yeah, so, if you have those 5 from Inside Out, not including, Riley or anybody outside of Riley, is bringing Figment into the 6 too much, I guess is the question. But I definitely think it needs some love.
Right, yeah. I think doing the Inside Out and Figment might get a bit muddy with the story. So like, I would hate to see them do that and not do it well, because we know what happens when they don't do Figment well. We're on our 3rd rendition now.
Yeah.
So I if they're going to do Inside Out, I love Figment. He was my first favorite Disney character. If they do Inside Out, Figment needs to go. If they do Inside Out, they need to do Inside Out.
Yeah, no. And I guess that's the sad part of it, but I totally agree that if they're going to do Inside Out, give Figment his own thing.
Yeah, sure. But they have a whole movie theater right next to him. Do something with that there.
I was going to say, but not a film. Okay. I think he needs more.
I don't know what he needs, but what he has now is not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was like an interactive show, even if they had the animatronic of Figment, and it was kind of this rendition of like Monsters Laugh Floor that you were able to interact with Figment, but still a show, I could see that, but not just. I think Figment deserves more than just a movie screen.
Okay, yeah, and I do agree with that, but I think we're both in agreement that Journey into Imagination with Figment needs a big update.
Oh yeah, totally agree.
So then my second updated, and that would be our last topic, is Living with the Land. It's a good ride. It's not that I'm saying it's a bad ride. It's an outdated ride. It just feels very, very outdated, especially when you ride it 100 times. It's one of the rides that you have to do. Sometimes, depending on the day, we might fast pass if it's like a 5-minute wait, but like I've even seen it a 30-minute wait. That ride is not a 30-minute wait ride. If you haven't done it, it's a cool ride because you learn a lot. But the re-rideability, it's there, just I think it needs more. I would like to see more scenes in the beginning, kind of explaining how we live with the land, instead of showing us the thousands of plants that there are that we're working with. Which is cool because it's showing physically how we do live with the land with the new agricultural technology that we have. But I would like a little bit more background and not so much just kind of seeing plants. And then you get to the movie screen at the end where it's like the earth, and it kind of shows like the 7 different people there in different colors. Completely pointless. Feel like they didn't have anything there, so someone said, hey, let's just put the Earth there. And why it's pointless is because they already have that. They have that in Spaceship Earth. They have the screen of the Earth that you see from far away.
Yeah.
And it takes your breath away. And then you go to Living with the Land, and you're like, I don't understand what any of this means. So I would like to see them kind of do a big refurbishment, change the story. Or not change the story, but add to the story. Make me ride it and be like, oh, wow, like I didn't know that. Like, look at that over there. But when you're looking at 50 different plants for 5 minutes, it gets boring.
For me, I could see the update. For me, when I go to Epcot, I have to do it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I understand. I agree.
My wife Amanda does not enjoy the land whatsoever. I think she'd probably just sit, in the quick service area there while I go and ride it. But no, it's one of the ones that I enjoy to do. I like to do. I don't know why I like to do it. I guess for me, I agree that, it needs an update. But I guess, let's go backwards with the update and let's bring back the live narrator that they used to have on the boats. Not that it was, funny like Jungle Cruise, but it was a different type dialogue.
You felt the connection.
Right, yeah. Like, oh, over here, like if that cast member was, I don't know, passionate about sugar, they would point out the sugar, and then the next boat ride, they'd be, interested in like hydroponics. So they would give you more information about hydroponics. Now you ride it and it's the same spiel over and over and over again. So could that be the updated? For me, at least, I wouldn't mind that. Are they going to do it? Probably not. But no, yeah, I totally agree with the more scenes maybe in the beginning. Maybe that's the answer. I think the greenhouses are always going to stay. That's part of the ride.
It's part of
makes sense.
It's part of the building. You know what I mean? You have the 2 big greenhouses that you can see, or 2 or 3. I'm not sure how many exactly, but that you can see outside. It has the shape of it. The shape of the dome. Is iconic.
No, yeah. Totally. I mean. And for that ride as well, they also have a tour, which is Behind the Scenes tour. I'd like to do it. I probably, unfortunately, will never be able to do it because certain family members, not mentioning my wife Amanda, does not enjoy it. So, again, I'd be the only guy on the tour in my family by myself, probably asking questions.
No, I think our father would be right next to you with his fanny pack, kind of jumping up and down, like, oh,
he would. He totally would. He'd be like, "Oh, can we just see all the Mickey fruit?" And I'd be right there with him. I'd be like, "Yeah, let's see a watermelon made out of Mickey."
So, but here's my question with that: how much more information are you getting from that than the ride? I don't know. You don't know because we've never done it.
Right? No, but it'd be interesting to see.
It'd be completely interesting, but at the same time, instead of sitting down with the ride, you're now walking the ride. And instead of it being a 10-minute ride, it's now a 20-minute walk. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's it'd be more in depth with the ride, which would be cool. I think it needs just a big update, something. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. It's interesting for that ride too, because actually some of the produce they produce, actually they serve in that quick service in the land pavilion, which is also, I guess, another cool, interesting fact about it, for me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's cool. It's just like, it doesn't have the rewritability for me. Like, it's one of the rides, we've said this, it's one of the rides that you kind of have to do.
No, yeah, if you're in that land, if you're in the land pavilion, then, and you're doing Soarin', you might as well do the land. I thoroughly enjoy the land pavilion overall. I like the land, the ride. I like Soarin'. I really enjoy that quick service there. The Mongolian beef is probably my favorite thing. And the strawberry shortcake, which the last time I went, they changed it. It's not like a cake anymore. It's in like a cup.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I didn't get it because I was so sad that they had changed it.
I don't get to eat there a lot because my fiance Katie doesn't like their food. So whenever she goes, she gets like a peanut butter and jelly and like eats half of it and is like bitter the rest of the day. So we try not to eat there when we go.
And I thoroughly enjoy the Land Pavilion. I think I don't want to say I miss the Lion King. It kind of added something to that pavilion where it was like, yeah, go and see it. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
I mean, because like, how many times have you done the Lion King? It's one of the things where it's like, oh, there's a 30-minute wait for Living with the Land. There's a 60-minute wait with Soarin'. It's pouring outside. Let's see a show. Let's do a Lion King show.
Yeah, no.
You've seen it once or twice.
No, maybe. I've seen it once or twice, and then when I watched it, I was like, this is actually like deeper than I thought. Like the whole theme of it and saving the earth, and the planet has limited amount of resources, so we have to use them well.
Right? Like
smart.
I like the education about it.
Yeah, no, it was definitely neat about it all, and yeah. You have anything else?
No, I think that kind of wraps up my updated. So.
All right. Well, that does it here for us. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a review as it helps us improve the show. And as always, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Facebook. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.